Elden Ring Nightreign is here, and with 8 classes to choose from, this video is going to be helping you make the decision of which class is the best for you. Each class comes with its own strengths and weaknesses, their own set of abilities, stats, and their unique playstyles too. You'll start with set equipment, but you can use any weapons you find during your run. So you can essentially run with any build you want with any class, but we would advise you optimize your loadouts based around your core strengths of your chosen class, as your leveling attributes are predetermined for each hero. If you want to get more into the details of some solid builds for your chosen Nightfarer, then click the link below to check out all of our builds from our Elden Ring experts. Each hero comes with a particular set of skills. They have a passive ability that is always active, a character skill which is an ability with a relatively short cooldown that tends to deal damage or provide utility, and their ultimate art, which is a much more powerful ability with a much longer cooldown. So first up, let's talk about the token big beefy berserker class in Elden Ring Nightreign. The Raider is a melee hero heavily focused on wielding huge strength weapons like great axes and colossal weapons. His kit allows him to power through and withstand even the most devastating boss attacks, and offensively he can certainly dish it out too, with huge hits that can easily stagger and break enemy stances in retaliation. The Raider's passive is Fighter's Resolve, which goes hand in hand with his character skill called Retaliate. This passive boosts up Retaliate so that Raiders can't be knocked down whilst using it. Retaliate assumes an attacking stance, stomping the ground for some AoE damage and boosting up his defenses if you absorb enough damage this way. Retaliate will then allow you to follow up with a heavy headbutt that deals massive damage to enemies and bosses. Then we have their ultimate art, Totem Stealer. You'll summon a huge pillar from the ground, dealing massive AoE damage in a small area. The pillar not only offers damage but also utility too, as it provides a high ground point for ranged party members, and it blocks projectiles and it's indestructible, alongside also providing a damage buff to your team too. The main strengths of the Raider are the stagger and stance breaking potential to create openings for follow-up attacks and critical hits. They have amazing HP stats, so they can soak a ton of damage with perfectly timed retaliates and can dish it back out to enemies in the same sequence. They offer fantastic team-wide utility with their ultimate art, and generally speaking are also a great solo running class too, as boss 1v1s just feel right on the Raider. The weaknesses are their mobility, and as a melee character this can be a frustrating experience against certain bosses and can feel extremely punishing if you mistime your retaliates, or if you hit your retaliate but your enemy just keeps moving and you miss your follow-ups anyway. The Raider's whole identity and playstyle is heavily linked to their character skill, so if you don't gel with it, it's probably not the class for you, and his ideal weapons are all on the slower side. Overall, if you want big swings and heavy hits, the Raider is the perfect hero for you. If you want to stay up close and personal but prefer the more nimble and agile classes in games like rogues or assassins, then the Duchess might be the one for you. The Duchess is all about dexterity, stealth and evasion, and weaving in huge burst damage alongside utility too. Her passive ability allows her to chain dodges together, providing high mobility and invincibility frames, making her harder to hit in the heat of combat if executed correctly. This ability replaces the standard dodge roll with a swift quick step, which can be performed twice in quick succession. Her character skill allows her to reapply all damage and status effects dealt to a targeted enemy over the last few seconds, including all damage from any allies. This has the potential to be the single most powerful damaging ability in the game, especially in runs with friends if you can coordinate your attacks together to unleash some pretty absurd burst damage. Then her ultimate art provides an invisibility cloak for herself and her team, which allows your party to orchestrate ambushes, escape lost fights, or opens up opportunities to get the jump on your enemies. One of the main strengths of the Duchess is the high skill expression due to the nature of her kit. Those chain dodges with her passive allow for a very high skill ceiling and adds the potential for flawless fights if executed perfectly. She has some of the highest single target damage potential in the game if timed correctly around her character skill, and her invisibility grants immense possibilities when it comes to utility and strategy. One weakness is that although her ultimate has amazing potential, some bosses it just won't be as useful against, as some can't be backstabbed, which does leave this ultimate without as much offensive capabilities. She also has very low HP and damage negation too, so is naturally squishy and can die in an instant if you miss your quick steps. The Duchess is the perfect class for you though if you're the kind of player that loves to show off. So if you have a fetish for finesse and like to stay on your toes, give her a go. Let's step back from melee range now and take a look at the mage class archetype in Elden Ring Nightreign, which is the Recluse. This class is all about pumping out powerful elemental spells and abilities from afar with incredible damage potential and a super high skill ceiling. The Recluse's passive is Elemental Defense, where she can collect elemental residue from dealing damage with her elements to replenish her FP, so you can constantly barrage your enemies with sorceries and incantations. This residue is stored up and can later be used to fuel her character skill in Magic Cocktail. This skill makes her an insanely versatile spellcaster and really enables that high skill expression. Each single use of Magic Cocktail allows her to cast one of 14 different spells depending on those residues stored by using her passive. These spells vary in their effects from damage to utility, from big AoE blasts to heals for her allies. We won't go into all the details, but if you want to read up more about this for yourself, head to the Recluse page on our website. Then we have her ultimate art, which marks nearby enemies with blood sigils for around 10 seconds, and attacking marked enemies restores both the HP and FP of the Recluse and any allies, making it an invaluable supportive ability for almost any situation. The main strength of the Recluse is once you've mastered her, her potential is arguably unmatched. Her versatility is off the charts with her Magic Cocktail combinations, and with good positioning she can genuinely prove relentless in any fight with her sheer amounts of damage and utility. She is one of the most difficult characters in the game though, not only to pick up and learn but also to master too, due to that timing and thinking required to collect all the correct elemental residues as well as the knowledge required to use the right spells when the situation calls for it. She also has the lowest HP pool in the game, so it's super punishing if you do get hit. The Recluse is an ideal hero for you if you A. love magic and B. love mastering not only the elements but a class itself too. Now it wouldn't be an RPG without a ranger archetype, and Ironeye is fast, agile and provides huge AoE damage from afar, alongside utility with better loot and damage amplification, and even has extra mobility in the form of a wall run. His passive Eagle Eye increases loot rarity for himself and his allies, making him instantly an invaluable pick in any run. His character skill performs a quick melee attack with his dagger and marks the enemy hit, dashing away to safety shortly afterwards, and marked enemies take increased damage from all sources. This has amazing burst potential, especially when coordinated well with friends, but can also be used defensively too. His ultimate art fires a powerful supersonic arrow that pierces through enemies and obstacles, dealing huge AoE damage and staggering enemies caught in the fire. Ironeye just provides immense utility for his team. He has incredible mobility with his wall run and can blast through enemies with AoE in no time at all. The improved loot can not only feel super rewarding, but can definitely improve your success in your runs by drastically improving the offensive power of all Nightfarers. The main weaknesses of this class are his low HP pool, and without any damage mitigation he has to rely on his mobility and positioning to stay alive. Inexperienced players may struggle with Ironeye as a lot of enemies can gap close aggressively, making certain fights hard to endure. But if you do enjoy that fast-paced mobile playstyle from afar, Ironeye is a great option for you. From the Eagle Eye to the Eagle himself, let's take a step forward into the frontline again with the main tank class in Nightreign, Guardian. Often equipped with a halberd and great shield, the Guardian is ready to face tank everything in sight during your runs, and due to his survivability and defensive power, he's always going to be useful in any composition. His passive Steel Guard makes him plant his feet into the ground and brace for impact whilst holding up a shield, allowing him to absorb huge hits without breaking a sweat. His character skill creates a whirlwind around him with his wings, dealing AoE damage and knocking smaller enemies up in the circle around him. It also deflects incoming projectiles, and he can charge this up to increase the range and damage. His ultimate art allows him to spread those wings though and leap into the air before diving into the ground, dealing big AoE as well as poise damage and providing boosts to allies' defenses, and even revives those downed allies too. Guardian is an easy class to pilot with a straightforward kit and can be a great hero to learn enemy moves because of his large starting HP pool. His utility is incredible when playing with friends to save the day with clutch ultimate arts, or just to absorb tons of damage and lead the line for his allies. He does have low mobility though and can be exposed to attacks whilst charging up his whirlwind. When playing solo you also do lose the revive part of his ultimate since you can't revive yourself. But if you love tanking it up for your friends and protecting those behind you, the Guardian is the perfect option for you to go for. Next up we have one of the more difficult Nightfarers in the game again with the Executor. This class is a high risk, high reward hero with an incredibly high skill ceiling that excels with his agility and dexterity. His passive Tenacity gives him a boost to attack and stamina recovery whilst recovering from status ailments. His character skill is his Cursed Sword, which has a stance that uses its own attacks and blocking options. The block becomes a deflect, which you have to time perfectly to deflect incoming blows. After deflecting multiple times, the sword's power then unleashes, allowing for a powerful lunging attack with a wide sweeping arc. Then we have his ultimate art where he transforms into a primordial beast, giving him new sweeping attacks with claws, slams for AoE with potential stuns, and also able to summon a magical blade to attack his enemies too. This class has endless possibilities when it comes to skill expression and can achieve extremely high DPS and survivability at the same time with its deflects and damage boosts. His ultimate is not only insanely cool and powerful, but can also essentially give you a second life, as it instantly gives the beast its own HP pool. Executor is definitely one of the more difficult classes to learn though, and it's very punishing if you miss your deflects. He can also struggle against multiple enemies at once, and most of this class's power comes from that cursed sword skill and playstyle, so without this it can feel clunky in periods of downtime. But that being said, this class feels very unique and a ton of fun, so if you want something a bit different, I definitely recommend giving it a try. Then we have Wylder, a character with a versatile arsenal of abilities capable of handling nearly any threat in his path. Armed with a great sword, small shield and grappling hook, he excels in close quarters combat where he can utilize his mobility to overthrow his enemies. His passive Sixth Sense allows him to avoid an instance of damage that otherwise would have killed him, and upon activation will perform a dodge automatically. His character skill is his iconic claw shot, which really brings together his versatility and mobility. This allows him to reposition by traversing terrain, pull himself towards enemies, or even pull smaller enemies towards him. His ultimate art loads up that grappling hook with a powerful explosive blast that can be charged up for greater damage and a potential stagger even on bosses. Wylder is an amazing class in any situation due to his biggest strength, which is that versatility. He's got a death avoidance mechanic making him easy to pick up and play, as well as being great for solo runs too, and that high mobility means he can traverse the map with ease. Whilst being versatile though, he doesn't really best other heroes on any of their more unique strengths and is more of a jack of all trades, master of none. He can lack damage due to his long cooldown on his ultimate art, and his passive only works once per resting, so it can feel underwhelming, especially to skilled players who don't go down easily. But if you want a class that ticks plenty of boxes that has a ton of mobility and possibilities, then you can't really go wrong with Wylder. Then finally we have Revenant, the final class to be revealed, and her playstyle is all about summoning spirits and raising dead enemies, and comes with a bunch of utility alongside her damage. Her passive allows her to raise enemy ghosts to fight alongside her. Her character skill summons a spirit with 3 options to choose from. Helen provides fast attacks onto single targets but does die pretty quickly. Frederick has slower but more powerful attacks that can cleave and stagger, and Sebastian is a large skeleton that actually can't move but can tank a decent bit of damage with its high health pool. Then we have her ultimate art, which makes herself and nearby allies immortal, revives all down teammates, and transforms her family into immortal warriors too. This ultimate art is one of the best in the game, which makes it a massive strength of this class. She also has amazing versatility with those different summons depending on those situations, and can manage aggro exceptionally well with her passive and summons too. She does lack power at longer ranges though, as her summons do all need to be pretty close up, and due to her inherent lack of defenses, she has to juggle her summons well to avoid being punished. She's also more item dependent compared to some other classes too. However, if you've always been a fan of summoners or necromancers from other games, then once you do unlock her, you're probably going to end up maining her. And that brings us to the end of our video all about the 8 new playable classes in Elden Ring Nightreign, and hopefully now you have a bit more of an idea of who you want to play first. Don't forget to check out our Nightreign hub on our website, as we've got more details about each class but also help with bosses, builds, tier lists and plenty more. Thank you all for watching guys, enjoy your runs in Limveld this weekend and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.